out there today. We see them head. You can see just how strong the wind is with the Monaco flags up above there. But once they turn, they will have some more shelter as they move alongside the big boats. They will have a slight drop down now at the first corner. We'll see some jostling for position in the beginning, and then I think we'll see them settling maybe into single file behind the king himself on the roads at the moment, Cheptegi.
You don't actually need to see any split times yet to know that that field has gone off with intent, hasn't it?
Yes, I think when you're aiming to get in the realms of sub 13-minute racing on the road, you have to start off from the beginning and you have to attack hard. That is that small drop, which of course they will come back up in reverse in the closing stages. That is Davis Kiplagat alongside Cheptegi at the moment. Further back behind, we can just catch a glimpse of the leading women. I can see Beatrice Chepkoech there. She is being paced by Luc Maas of the Netherlands, and he will try and, I guess, shelter her from a little bit of the wind, but certainly accompany her and keep her on pace as much as possible as she aims. I think that world record, women's only, of Sifan Hassan 14:44 is a tough ass. 14:48 is actually the mixed race record, which may be more within her sights.
Well, Paula, courtesy of your wonderful briefing notes you gave me last night, I didn't actually realise that she was coached by Bram Som, who's a good, very good quality 800-metre runner who actually I competed against on a few occasions.
Yeah, and I think he's in the past also been very, very well known for his excellent pacemaking duties around the circuit. But yes, does coach Beatrice. I think was talking in light of the conditions today, in light of where the prevailing wind is, possibly setting out slightly quicker over the first half to enable her to be able to coast and recover a little bit when the wind is at her back in the second half. There she is, just heading into the tunnels.
Formula One fans will know exactly where this field is at this moment.
And they will take advantage of the shelter, I think, through the tunnel to just spread out across the road a little bit.
And the rise in temperature, I would guess.
There is Mourad Amdouni, Bethwell Bergen as well, slotted into the centre. Little known fact that we learned about him is that he's actually one of three brothers, and his brothers encompass a 2:04 marathon runner in Bernard Chepkoech and Enoch Chepkoech, 3:31 1500-metre runner, who also won the 2001 short course world cross-country title.
I wonder who gets the bragging rights when they all meet up for occasional suppers and breakfasts.
Be a little bit like dinner at the Ingebrigtsens, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Without the cameras.
We are just waiting for the first split to come up. For the first kilometre, they should have gone through. That hasn't yet come up on our screens, I'm afraid. There we go, 2:41 through the first kilometre. So I guess we would expect that one. We're looking, incidentally, for an attack on the world record on the roads for it to be averaging between 2:33, 2:34 per kilometre. So a little bit outside of that, but it did include the uphill rise, and the second kilometre will, I'm sure, be much quicker.
And we shouldn't gloss over the fact it is pretty blustery out there as well. But they're going to get Monaco's an interesting place because you get a lot of wind tunnelling effect between the high rise. So there'll be elements of this where the conditions are quite benign, and then suddenly they're going to hit they'll hit pockets that they're going to have to really work hard in.
Absolutely, the wind can buffet, and it is coming off the sea here today. So Mourad Amdouni looks out across the water. He won't be doing that, but he will see his native Corsica, where he was in fact born, just across the water there, and that wind can sweep straight in. But because of the building work that they're doing along the Larvoto beachfront here, those screens and shelters will in fact help them a lot, and you can see them tucking in closely to those boards, so the view might not be as nice, but I think they will appreciate those boards being there this morning. Beatrice Chepkoech went through in 2:54 for her first kilometre. There are the kilometre splits up on the screen now.
Cheptegei's got such a nice, easy style, hasn't he? I mean, his arms are held well. He's got a nice, relaxed stride length. You can see he's working a little harder than normal.
Yeah, he's tucked into it. There is Meraf Bata on the women's side as well, returning from her 1 year out, and has come back racing well so far this year. She did record a 5K national record run on the roads. Sweep down now. Again, they've passed, I guess, the worst bit of exposure to the wind here, and they drop back in front of the Meridian Hotel and are approaching the turnabout point.
It's where we have all our World Athletics Council meetings.
And through 2 kilometres, they went through in 5:22. So again, pace just around about that 13:20 mark. So a little bit slower, and obviously deciding that conditions are chilly, and they're going to try and do their faster running in the second half of this course. Still a reasonable pack there as well, which will be working together and helping each other. Meraf Bata is out on her own. She is a little bit in no man's land. She's behind Chepkoech and ahead of the next group of women, which you can see behind. Around the roundabout and back alongside the opposite carriageway, along the Avenue Princess Grace, and back on the home stretch now, if you like, back towards us here in the Port Hercule.
Well, they all successfully navigated the roundabout.
Yeah, I think it's tight, but given some of the hairpin bends that we can see, it's not too bad.
This is where he's now beginning to stretch that field.
Yeah, you can see.
Which was inevitable given the nature of the course conditions today.
Yeah, it's almost like he literally took the roundabout as a turning point in the race and has injected some pace, which we'll get an idea of once they get through
the
3 kilometre mark. But Bergen and Kip Langdon have gone with him. You can see Amdouni further back down the road, struggling to stay with.
This will be an uncomfortable few minutes for anybody following Cheptegei now.
You can see the sun not quite reaching them. They're tucked into the shadows just to take advantage of that shelter. It's just adjusting. Oh no, he's removing his arm sleeve. The pace is warming up, but he's also warming up. They're through 3 kilometres in 7:59. So yeah, accelerating down from that.
Clearly picked up the pace.
13:20, but I think we're going to see further accelerations there. I'm not sure we're going to see him able to get back close to that 12:51. Keep a close eye on Amdouni behind though, because he is within reach of that 13:18 mark of European record. There is Meraf Bata. Ahead of her is Beatrice Chepkoech. Just having a look to see if she has not yet gone through the 3 kilometre marker, but must be very, very close to it. Around about 8:54, which does see her. She is within reach of that world record of Sifan Hassan.
Yes, she is actually much significantly closer to it than the men at the moment, pace for pace.
That is her pacemaker. I haven't actually seen her go through that marker, but I'm assuming they're still running together. And there is Alice Finot of France, who ran on her birthday a huge PB indoors in Liévin on Tuesday night of 8:53.
Some of those performances in Liévin that night were really absolutely top draw, and just shows the quality and fortitude the athletes have shown to remain in such great form under such challenging circumstances.
Yes, I mean, I think they have to keep focused very much on the Olympics later this year, and very much hoping that will still go ahead, coming out and seizing the opportunity to race. I'm actually not sure that Chepkoech is in there. Luc Mars now appears to be running on his own, and I think Meraf Bata is actually leading the women's race here today. She went through 3 kilometers in 9:35, so she is also, I guess, struggling in the wind over those first 3 kilometers of this race, but is clear of Alice Fino in second place in the women's race. Cheptegei still can't quite shake that duo of Kiplagat and Bergen settled in behind him, and you can see Mourad Amdouni alongside the bike behind, trying to keep them inside and just to hang on to the coattails, if you like, of this leading trio.
I think just as a couple of swift glances behind, I don't sense that they were glances of nervousness. I just think he was trying to figure out whether just how much daylight he'd got, and he's beginning to create that now.
I think so, and I think we'll get a chance to ask him afterwards, but I think he's realised that a world record in these conditions wasn't really on the cards, and what is important is that he wins the race here today and wins it convincingly. That is the split through 4 kilometres, 10:38 there, so yeah, he's still around about the same pace at 13 minutes. You can see down this hill here is a good opportunity to pick up pace, as Meraf Bata, leading the women's race, is just coming into that Monte Carlo tunnel, so famous from, as you said, the Monaco Grand Prix racing, but is also welcome when you're running to be able to get a little bit of shelter through there.
It's majestic running from Cheptegei at this point.
See, just
beautiful
the
stride length.
Ease with which he covers the ground and almost bounces there. The other two working hard to try and stay with him, and probably have stayed closer than they might have anticipated, but he will sweep back alongside. There was a little bit of a glance at his watch, alongside the big boats, up this very steep but short rise by Cafe Milano there, and we'll sweep onto the promenade, if you like, here in the Boricule, and a straight run into the finish where we can see him and are waiting for him.
He'll be very, very satisfied with this performance. It's not a record. I don't think he probably realised very early on that was unlikely to happen. But he'll come out of here feeling very confident for the rest of the season.
And he's not too far off in the end with the speed that he's picked up over those closing stages. I'm looking to see if we can see him. We will see him pass under the red arch that they started under, and now down onto the carpet and towards the finishing straight here. Here he comes. And 13, 9, 10 across the line there, followed by Bergen in second place. Tamgoon and Amdouni did cross the line under the European record and in a French record time there. I think we will wait for confirmation of that. I am actually seeing Beatrice Chepkoech pass through 4 kilometers on our screen, so I apologize for the confusion. We haven't seen anything of her actually on the screens. We are watching Meraf Bata run down the hill now into the finishing, so she's inside the final kilometer, and I'm just trying to watch in front as well to see if there is Michiels crossing the line. Rafael Montoya. Igida has just finished. I mean, that was, I think, a cold and disappointing run from him, as we are watching Meraf Bata alongside the boats, and she will come up again up that rise. At the same time, so a few people watch to see if Beatrice Chepkoech is in the race. I think she is there. Yes, she is coming down the finishing straight, so apologies for that. She now comes down the finishing straight alongside Luc Mars, and will cross the line in 14:40, so that is actually
very
an outright world record. She takes down Sifan Hassan's world record set here
Yeah.
in 2019. I really can only apologise for the confusion there. She wasn't appearing on the splits and wasn't picked up as the